Good afternoon, everyone. We are now starting with the extraordinary meeting, but I first ask that you stand for prayers. Thank you. Creator and sustainer of all things and all people, you are the source of wisdom and light. Enlighten our minds to receive your guidance so that we may lead us into true wisdom. May all that we say and do in the service of the county, whether as elected members or as officers, be in accordance with your will and for the good of your people. Amen. In the event of having to evacuate the council chamber, would everyone leave by one of the two exits at the rear of the chamber? Officers will be on hand to assist any people with disabilities. Mobile phones. May I ask all members who have mobile phones with them to ensure that they are switched off so that they will not disturb the meeting. Thank you. Item 1, declarations of interest. The Chairman will invite members who wish to do so make declarations of interest in respect of items on this extraordinary meeting. Any? No. Item 2, appointment of honorary alderman. Admission of Mr Dave Houseman, MBE. Have a proposer?
Chairman, can I formally move that in pursuance of Section 249 of the Local Government Act 1972, Mr Dave Houseman be admitted as an honorary alderman of the County of Leicestershire in recognition of the eminent services he has rendered to the people of Leicestershire through the performance of his duties as a member of the County Council from 2005 to 2017.
Thank you, Leader. Do I have a seconder? Thank you. I invite Mr Houseman to join me to receive the... Sorry. A statement. Okay, sorry about that, Chairman.
I only have a few words about Dave, because we all obviously know him. But Dave was elected to the County Council in 2005 and represented the Syston Foss division. Syston always featured highly on Dave's priorities, and he never missed an opportunity to bring to my attention, and of course all members of the council, the needs of the people and the area of Syston. Dave would often describe Syston as thriving, and for Dave, Syston always came first. He was an exceptional representative for the division, and in particular for the thriving town centre. Dave was appointed to serve as Cabinet Support Member in 2009 and continued in this role until 2012. In 2013, he was appointed as Cabinet Lead Member for Adult Social Care. The adult social care portfolio is probably one of the most difficult and challenging anyone could have, and Dave embraced that challenge. Under his stewardship, the department began its transformation programme, focusing on frontline delivery to those most in need and seeking efficiencies in the back office services and processes. Whilst we admit there were some setbacks, on the whole, the transformation programme worked well, and like many other social care authorities, Leicestershire is not in dire financial circumstances and is in a much better place for Dave's input, in my view. I am particularly grateful today for all his work, and he will definitely be a tough act to follow. In 2011, a New Year's Honours List, Dave was awarded an MBE for services to local government. I therefore am most proud to be able to nominate Dave to be an honorary alderman for the County of Leicestershire.
Thank you, Leader. Simon, would you like to say a few words? Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Dave Houseman, of course, first cut his teeth in the scrutiny arm of the Council. He chaired the health scrutiny, which later became the Adults and Communities and Health Scrutiny from 2005 to 2009. He also chaired the Leicester, Leicestershire and Rutland Health Overview and Scrutiny Committee. Health scrutiny then was still in its development stage, and Dave played a key role in setting the tone and developing the mutual trust that now exists between health commissioners and providers. Nick has referred to Dave's continual interest and repeated commitment to Syston. I think it featured in about every council meeting that it would have been mentioned. But of course, Dave also gained a reputation for making numerous interventions praising previous leaders and key cabinet members, which may or may not have had an influence in him gaining a seat eventually on the cabinet, where he served until he stood down a few months ago. So, Chairman, on that basis, I'm happy to second his nomination for Honorary Alderman. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr Galton. We now put it to the vote, so all those in favour, please raise your hands. Thank you. Mr Houseman, if you'd like to come forward, please, to receive your Honorary Alderman. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I want to thank Nick for proposing me, but also for so robustly supporting me throughout my term as a Cabinet member, and Simon for seconding me. Both have been very generous in their comments about me today, which is much appreciated. I did suggest to my wife that now I had all this spare time, we could start a family. And I have to report to members that my dinner was very cold that evening. Although originally a Shropshire lad, I now live in Syston, the capital of Pucker pies. Other pies are available. I really do want to thank all the elected members of the County Council for this very great honour that you've bestowed on me, and the fact you feel that I'm worthy of it. When I was first elected, I never, in my wildest dreams, think I would end up being an honorary alderman of the county of Leicestershire. To be honoured by one's peers in this way, the end of my political career, is very humbling. Madam Chairman, through politics, I've gained many really good friends, but as elected members know, rather like an iceberg, 2/3 of your time and work, or perhaps even more, goes completely unseen by the general public. At times, being a councillor can be very lonely and very frustrating when it's not possible to resolve issues to everyone's satisfaction. But the most enjoyable aspect of being a county councillor is being able to help people with their many problems. I received lots of letters and emails prior to retiring, and there is one I've obtained permission to share with you today. I was contacted by the husband of a woman that was persuaded to give up her illegitimate daughter for adoption, like many others, over 50 years ago. The couple had experienced lots of difficulties in their attempts to find the daughter. He asked me if the County Council could help. Thanks to the pointers by hard-working officers from this council, success was achieved and his wife's birth daughter was found. When contact was finally made, both parties were absolutely thrilled. This illustrates how councillors working as part of a team, which includes the wonderful hard-working officers of this council, can and do make a difference to people's lives. I have every confidence that all the members here, with the help of the staff, irrespective of political persuasion, will continue to deliver an outstanding service to the residents of Leicestershire. Thank you once again, members, and thank you, Madam Chairman.
I'd like to call on Mr Rushton to propose. Thank you.
Chairman, can I formally move again that in pursuance of Section 249 of the Local Government Act 1972, Mr David Snart be admitted as an honorary alderman of the County of Leicestershire in recognition of the eminent services he has rendered to the people of Leicestershire through the performance of his duties as a member of the County Council from 2005 to 2017.
Thank you. Mr Galton, would you like to second? Thank you. Mr Rushton, would you like?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chairman. A few words on Snarty. David Snart joined the Council in 2005, having been elected as a member for the Bradgate Division. David chaired the Corporate Governance Committee since its inception in 2006 until 2015. David was instrumental in helping to develop and embed the high standards of conduct and governance framework for members and officers necessary for the running of this authority. His calm and dignified approach helped steer the Council, and us in particular over here, Chairman, through a particularly difficult period when serious concerns were raised about the conduct of a senior member. And this is something that I'm sure all members of this County Council will acknowledge and appreciate. In 2015, David was elected Chairman of the County Council, and during this time supported Loros and the Leicester Children's Holiday Centre in Mablethorpe. It was David who managed to persuade a large building company to give their services free to rebuild the balcony at the centre. David has also been a borough councillor at Charnwood, where he was chairman of the Charnwood Community Safety Partnership, and this experience helped him to contribute enormously to the various strategic partnership boards tackling reduction in crime and antisocial behaviour. Chairman, it is a great pleasure to move David Snart.
Thank you, Mr Rushton. Mr Galton?
Yes, thank you, Chairman. David Snart is a quiet but determined individual, and as Nick has already pointed out, a huge personal contribution to the corporate governance framework of this council. And it is fair to say that we made common cause on a particular job that had to be done some years ago, and I think right across the council, David would acknowledge that he did a very good job in that. David's also played a role in the council scrutiny process. He was chairman of the Children's and Young People's Scrutiny Committee from 2006 to 2008. He also chaired the Resources Scrutiny Committee from 2005 to 2006. During his tenure in scrutiny, David also chaired a panel that looked in depth at how the council managed its capital programme with the aim of reducing underspends. The work of that panel has stood the test of time and has significantly improved the delivery of our capital programme. More locally, David was a long-serving trustee of the Bradgate Park and Trust. I'm very happy to support his nomination as Honorary Alderman today.
Thank you, Mr Galton. So we now put it to the vote. All those in favour? Thank you very much. Thank you. Mr Snart, can I invite you to come forward to receive your Honorary Alderman and badge of office? Thank you. would you like to address the members? Thank you.
Thank you. Madam Chairman, firstly may I thank all members of this County Council for conferring this great honour of Honorary Alderman on me. I thank the Leader of the Council, Mr Rushton, for proposing me and Mr Galton for seconding the proposal. I also thank them for their kind words they have said about my time as a County Councillor. This is a day I will never forget. It was a great pride that my time as a County Councillor has been recognised in this way. I became a councillor to make a difference, not only for the residents with my Bredgett division, but to continue to make our county a great place to live. I hope in some small way I have achieved this, especially through my contribution whilst Chairman of the Corporate Governance Committee. It was always important to me to make sure the reputation of this council was maintained at the highest level. My year as Chairman was a real privilege, meeting so many people throughout the county. Two of the many highlights are the continued support of this council gives to the armed forces, and also meeting many volunteers who contribute so much to our great county. I must mention the professional support from the Chief Executive and officers during my year. This was outstanding. Finally, thank you so much. This is just wonderful to be recognised in this way. I look forward to attending and taking part in civic ceremonies the Council may decide from time to time. I wish all members and officers continued success. Thank you.
I now call on Mr Rushton then to propose. Thank you. Mr Graham Hart, sorry.
I move in pursuance of Section 249 of the Local Government Act 1972. Excuse me. Mr Graham Hart be admitted as an honorary alderman of the County of Leicestershire in recognition of the eminent services he has rendered to the people of Leicestershire through the performance of his duties as a member of the County Council from 2005 to 2017.
Thank you. Mr Galton, would you like to second it? Thank you. Mr Rushton, would you like to say a few words?
Graham Hart, that is, was elected to the County Council in May 2005 to represent the Bruntingthorpe electoral division. Graham served as Cabinet Support Member on the Children and Families portfolio from 2005 to 2007, from 2010 to 2012, and from 2013 to 2017, all with Ivan Old, so he deserves a medal for that in itself. He played a key role in excuse me, Ivan. He played a key role in helping to drive up educational standards in our schools. However, his role was to help to shape and improve our offer to the children in our care and to promote the role of the council, its members and employers as corporate parents. Graham was always present at award ceremonies held to celebrate the achievements of our children in care. He also served on the fostering and adoption panel and was chairman of the pupil referral unit. All this was done in Graham's own style, quietly, without much fuss, but very effective. Graham was chairman of the Pension Fund Management Board from 2013 until he stood down in 2017. It was in this role that he was instrumental in driving forward the arrangements for pooling pension funds with 7 other authorities so we can achieve better returns on our investments whilst reducing costs. I'm sure the officers of this council and all Leicestershire local councils who are part of the local government scheme will be delighted with Graham's efforts. Graham has also served as a councillor on Harborough District Council from 1999 till 2011, representing the Peatling ward. He was deputy leader from 2006 to 2007 and then he led that council from 2007 to 2008. Locally, he's been involved with Foxton Locks Partnership, of which he was vice chairman in 2010. Finally, Graham is a man with a great attention to detail, given his engineering background, and was the perfect candidate to represent the Conservative group on the boundary review. He was in his element, actually, poring over the maps and analysing statistical information. It is a crucial job, and in my opinion, he did one of the last things he did was a really good job. So I'm therefore delighted to nominate Graham.
Thank you, Mr Rushton. Mr Galton, would you like to say a few words? Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Chairman. Graham has lived in Willoughby Waterless for over 30 years and is someone I've known for some time. As has been said, we both served on Harbour District Council. He's always been a very approachable person and a sense of humour. Even before that, I do remember him coming to planning committees at Harbour as a member of the public to complain about certain activities at Bruntingthorpe Airdrome, and that might be what led him to get more interested in council business and eventually stand. Graham had a short stint on scrutiny. He served as the Conservative spokesman on the Scrutiny Commission and also as a Deputy Commissioner. During that time, we worked together on a number of issues, and there was also an external assessment of our scrutiny process, which at that time was found to be good. Graham has also served on the Corporate Governance Committee from 2009 during a difficult time, as we've mentioned earlier, under the chairmanship of David Snart and others, and contributed to putting in place robust governance arrangements which have served this council well ever since. I'm happy to second his nomination.
Thank you very much, Mr Galton. So now we put it to the vote. All those in favour? Thank you. Mr Hart, can I ask you to come forward to receive your honorary alderman and badge, please? Council. Thank you, Mr Hart.
When I was informed that there was a proposal for me to be appointed an honorary alderman, I was surprised. And I tried to think hard what I had done to deserve such an honour, and also how to respond in receiving it. Firstly, my thanks to the Chief Executive, the Directors, the officers and all the staff. I have nothing but praise for the work they do and the manner in which they carry it out and their duties, and also for the support they have given me. Secondly, my thanks to all Leicestershire County Councillors for the help you have been whilst working with me. Some of you have had differing views on the way forward and the way to get there, but our common purpose to achieve the best for the people of Leicestershire has been paramount. I also thought back to my school days and the school song, and if I may quote from it, first verse goes, 40 years on, when afar and asunder, parted are those who are singing today, when we look back and forgetfully wonder what we were like in our work and our play. Then it may be there will often come o'er ye glimpses of notes like the catch of a song, visions of boyhood just float them before you, echoes of dreamland shall bear them along. Well, it's now 60 years plus, and I never dreamed of being here today. Finally, just two personal thanks to my workmate buddy, Councillor Auld. We had many conversations and many discussions and spent many hours together, but we never ever had an argument. It was a privilege to work alongside you. Thank you, Ivan. Just one final one. And last but definitely not least, my wife Glynis. To use her own words, a backroom girl. The one who supported me every day throughout my political career, whether I returned home crashed out or been on a high, who has put up with all the arrangements and rearrangements over the years, who has virtually acted as my secretary, including finding papers on my desk that are hidden from my view, to monitoring my work diary and arranging that I could always be on time, in the right place and booted and suited as required. And who else knows all the street names and all the houses and where the letterboxes are for all the 19 parishes from Fleckney through to Catthorpe, which make up the Buntingford division. I wish you all well in the future. Thank you.
I'd now I'd like to call on Mr Rushton to move Mr Peter Lewis for an alderman, please. Thank you.
Chairman, I move that in pursuance of Section 249 of the Local Government Act 1972, Mr Peter Lewis be admitted as Honorary Alderman of the County of Leicestershire in recognition of the eminent services he has rendered to the people of Leicestershire through the performance of his duties as a member of the County Council from 2005 to 2017.
Thank you, Mr Rushton. Mr Galton, would you like to?
Yes, second that. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Mr Rushton, would you like to
Chairman,
say a few words?
Peter was elected to the County Council to represent the Loughborough South West Division in 2005. On joining the County Council, he served on the Children and Young People's Services Overview and Scrutiny Committee, and between 2007 and 2009 chaired that said committee. From 2013 to 2015, he was Chief Whip to the Conservative Group, and in 2015 became Chairman of the County Council, something he relished, in my view, and undertook in his own inimitable style. Since 2015, Peter has been a Cabinet Support Member, and I want to particularly thank him for the work he has done, which I didn't find the time to do at that time, which was the Green Plaque Awards, and he certainly brought them to the fruition which I wanted them to come to, and they are certainly still exceedingly popular. Professionally, Peter joined Loughborough University in 1967 as a lecturer in English and drama until his retirement in 2007. He subsequently represented the County Council on the courts of both Leicester and Loughborough universities. As we all know, Peter has a passion for the arts and was the ideal candidate for appointment as the Council's trustee on the board of Curve. Within the wider community, Peter chaired the Charnwood Equality Council and the East Midlands Race Equality Consortium. He was championed and pushed forward the equalities agenda of this council, and as I said earlier on at the briefing we had on equalities, which Pam now does, we are exceedingly proud of the work that we do and the Chief Executive drives for us on our behalf on the equalities agenda. I'm particularly grateful, as I said earlier, for his work on the Green Plaque scheme. Peter's contribution to the work of this council makes him a deserving nominee, and I am delighted to nominate him, and he has promised me over lunch that he will not sing.
Thank you, Mr Rushton. Mr Galton, would you like to say a few words, please? Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. I think that Peter's most significant contributions were in the area of scrutiny and regulatory panels, which often get down to the nitty-gritty of policies and issues. Their education and support for children with special needs is something Peter feels very strongly about. He made a huge contribution to improving the provision to such children through his tireless work on the Special Needs Funding Panel and the transition of SEN students from schools into the community. In the regulatory area of the Council's work, He was a long-serving member on the Council's Fostering and Adoption Panel and also the Secure Accommodation Panel. In all these panels, Peter has championed the needs of those most deserving and in the greatest need, and is something that he could be very proud of. Now, it's already been mentioned his passion for the arts and culture, and on that front, Peter fought long and hard for these non-statutory services, but recognised that they are vitally important, particularly at a time of pressure on budgets and austerity, often with some success, and often challenging members of his own party. Peter will remember that I've often described him as a semi-detached member of the Conservative group, something which he may consider a compliment. I'm happy to second him. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Mr Galton. Now put it to the vote. All those in favour? Thank you. Mr Lewis, would you like to come down to receive your badge of office and honorary Newton, please? Thank you. To address the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. I know everybody is waiting for the excitement of the next meeting, which will no doubt be vigorous, dramatic, and something that I think probably I won't miss. The real work of the Council goes on outside that big dramatic performance. And I think much of what I've enjoyed most has been working with everybody here and learning from everybody here, irrespective of their parties. In fact, the strength of this council is when it can work together. And I actually would like to pay genuine tribute to Nick for the way that he has tried very hard to make that happen, and the way in which the other parties have striven to work with him, although at times they would find it difficult because there would have to be compromises made. I've learnt from everybody here, and I feel incredibly humble and quite amazed to be standing here, and that's genuine. I'm not being polite. I never dreamt that I would be standing here. I studied English at university, in particularly Old English. An alderman doesn't mean an old man. It means an earl, an ealdorman. And in time of crisis or invasion, the alderman would gather in a ring around the leader to defend him with a shield wall. Now, I'm not sure I'm prepared to do that to you, Nick, but I am concerned, bearing in mind Brexit, about an invasion of the French. So, should this happen, I will stand there in the shield wall with you. Can I thank, in particular, because of things I've been involved with, first my wife, who's put up with me for 50 years, we celebrate in a few weeks' time, has often told me when I'm wrong, and we've survived 50 years, and who has been a tremendous support, particularly when I was chairman, which for me was a magnificent experience, which I loved every minute of. Can I also thank the clerks to the many committees that I've served on, who make what we say sound intelligent, and whose patience is exemplary, and sometimes perhaps taken for granted, and I would like to thank them. And also those in education who've helped me with adoption and fostering and working with special needs, all of those staff who you don't always see because they're not the directors. But they are people who work under huge, huge pressure at the moment, and from whom I've learnt a great deal about aspects of life that I've not experienced myself. And can I thank, too, the magnificent civic office that we have here. When you have to work with them and see all of that they do, it is absolutely incredible. And I would like to place that on record. It's been mentioned that I'm keen on the arts and that I might sing. No, I am not going to sing. I'm past that sort of thing. But I would put in a little tiny plea, because in some ways I can be a bit of a nuisance. And that is, when I was chairman, we used to have every month a different artwork displayed outside there from our wonderful collection. And I'd like somebody to have a thought about that and bring back that so councillors can see what we have. It shouldn't cost too much to do, but I'd like you, please, to think about that, because it was very popular. Finally, I think I would like to say that one of the phrases I used when I was chairman and meant was that nobody in this county is untouchable. We are a touching place that reaches out to everybody, whatever their background. And at this time, in particular, of public unrest, of genuine hatred sometimes on those streets, we should reassert our belief that everybody matters, whoever they are. Bless you all and good luck. Thank you very much.